It is not difficult to sell garbage to guitar players. If a guitar player was drowning in the Pacific Ocean, and you somehow managed to convince him that salt water would make his vibrato better, you would be able to sell it to him for $300. And so it's no rare occurrence to see guitar players fall for the most asinine shit in this scene. But few things I've been able to observe have been dumber than the trend of signature guitar strings. And so today, I'd like to dive into that a little bit. And I'm going to get straight into the examples here, because I've used my own Thomann affiliate links in the description, because you should use those too, by the way, to buy a bunch of signature strings to show you just how stupid they are. So let's start off with my personal favorite, the Ernie Ball Tim Henson signature strings. Now, upon first glance, this set of Ernie Ball strings, which, by the way, runs you €14.99 in retail, might look unique to you because of the string gauges. Let's take a look at those. 9.5, 12, 16, 26, 36, and 46. Somewhere in between a set of 9s and 10s, with a half gauge on the highest string. So that must make these unique and worth the extra investment, right? I mean, there wouldn't be a string for about half the price that is exactly the same gauge. Oh, what is this? The Turbo Slinkies by Ernie Ball in the gauges of 9.5, 12, 16, 26, 36, and 46. Strange coincidence that, huh? That is really crazy, especially because a set of Turbo Slinkies runs you €7.50 on Thomann. $14.99, $7.50. That is literally half for the same thing. But I have more examples. We'll circle back to this. Oh, here you go. The John Mayer Silver Slinkies in the never-before-seen gauge configuration of 10.5, 13.5, 17.5, 27, 37, 47. €12.90 a pack. But okay, you know what? That is truly unique. I've never seen those gauges in one set of strings before, and oopsie, here come the Mega Slinkies. €6.90 a pack for the Ernie Ball Mega Slinkies, and the only difference is that the bottom three strings, the bass strings, are each 1 point thicker than on the Silver Slinkies. So instead of 27, 37, 47, you have 28, 38, and 48. Now, if this were on the treble strings, that would be a significant difference. Yes, it's the reason I prefer 9s over 10s, because it just has that more rubbery and flexible feel. But on the thick bass strings of your guitar, there is no way in hell you could convince me that you would be able to tell the difference. If I broke into John Mayer's house at night, and after stealing his immaculate Royal Oak collection, replaced every single set of strings on all of his guitars with these instead of the Silver Slinkies, he would wake up in the morning and know fuck all difference, and you cannot convince me otherwise. And once again, $12.90, $6.90. Are you joking? I know with signature products, there has to be some extra margin in there, because the person whose name is on the pack would like some money. If I were the artist, I would like some of that money as well. And if I was the brand, I of course would also upcharge so I don't have to pay out of pocket to give the artist that money. But it's almost twice the price. Okay, last one, hold on. For an average price of €13.90, depending on whether you're buying on Thomann or in physical retail, you can get a set of DR strings with Dimebag on the package. Is it DR strings? I usually say DR, it might be Doctor, I'm really not sure. But this is a completely standard set of 10 to 46 DR strings. For $13.90, compared to the $8.90 that you can see I paid for this set of 9.5 gauge DR strings. Now, of course, not the same gauge, but the 10 to 46 ones are exactly the same price. And what do you get for this €5 upcharge, besides a poorly isolated image of Dimebag on top of the logo? No, fuck all, that's it. There you go, they printed his signature on it. Isn't that lovely? That's worth $5. I've been playing these strings of strength since 1995. And now you might say, oh no, but the strings are higher quality or whatever because the artists have to use those. You're full of shit. No, they are absolutely not. They are full of buzzwords, that's for sure. They pair cobalt with paradigm technologies to deliver a tone that cuts through the mix. Yes, these strings deliver a tone that cuts through the mix, thanks to paradigm technologies. And now, if that makes you think that these are Ernie Ball paradigm strings, I seriously doubt it, because then they would be more expensive. Because Ernie Ball paradigm strings, the coated, longer-lasting version of the Ernie Ball Slinkies, costs way more than $14.99, which is what these cost. So it would make no sense for this to cost less with an artist name on them. No, this is literally the same set of strings, only in a white bag with this hideous artwork on it, and literally the same frequency response graphs on the back. There is hardly any difference here. Do you know why there isn't? Because there can't be, because it's the same thing twice. These are genuinely identical frequency response graphs. Why print these on here if it just indicts you? Why would you do that? Never before offered gauge combination. Yeah, off by 1 point on half the strings and on the half that doesn't matter. If you buy this, you're a fucking idiot. And I feel bad saying that about certain products sometimes, but I feel like sometimes I have to. If you buy this, or this, or honestly, especially this, because it's even less justified with these, since it's just literally completely identical to the bullshit strings that are in here. DR strings aren't even good to begin with. You are stupid. Now, there are 2 exceptions to this, and really only 2 that I've ever seen. And one, this is an obvious one, is the Labella Tony Iommi signature strings. And the reason those are an exception is because A, they are in a truly custom gauge configuration because of, Tony Iommi's fucked up, chopped off finger situation. So if you are somebody with a similar ailment, not necessarily a finger that you've cut off, but just fingers that really hurt, these are lighter gauge, and the combination is obviously just tailored to a player who experiences pain when pressing too hard on strings. And also, they are €7.90 per set, which is the most reasonable price in the world. And secondly, there would be the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen signature strings. And the reason I think those are an exception is because if you desperately want to use Fender strings, they are the only ones that come in an 8-46 configuration. Because why would you want that, really? 8-46 is a little ridiculous, but clearly they work for Yngwie, so whatever. If you are a fan of how Fender strings feel, which, they're pretty good strings, and you would like that configuration, you have to buy the Yngwie ones. And they really also aren't ridiculously more expensive. They are about €2 or €3 extra compared to like a regular set of 9s or 10s from Fender, which is fine because, like I said, a signature product needs to cost a little bit more always if the artist is trying to profit off of having their name on the packaging. But these don't cost a little bit more. These especially do not cost a little bit more. They cost twice as much. And these also do not cost a little bit more. For a product that is completely replaceable by the original without a packaging with an artist on this one doesn't even have John Mayer on it, by the way. This is just a slightly modified version of the Ernie Ball Eagle and a silver packaging. But these ones have an artist on the piece of packaging that goes straight in the bin as soon as you've torn it open to put the strings onto your guitar, at which point you will feel like a fucking idiot for not buying 2 sets of these instead of 1 set of these. And justifiably so, because if you actually buy and use these on a regular basis, then you are. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to do some reasonably priced gear shopping, there are affiliate links to Thomann and Sweetwater in the description. Helps out the channel for when the videos are too short to have an ad read in them. Goodbye, I'll see you in the next one.